I was blown away. So I'd have to say that exercise is one of the most valuable things I've ever done. I was 100% blown away with how much my wardrobe correlates with my life. Like it's just, you could read my life by looking at my wardrobe.
Hi, and welcome back to Wearing Your Worth podcast. My name is Sarah Gale, and I'm the host and facilitator of this podcast. So, we've got an amazing episode for you today where I'm joined by three beautiful women, Simone, Liz, and Tash. They've been working in the background over the last week or so in really dissecting their own current wardrobe. And there's some absolute gems that we're going to find out about what they found out about what they really treasure in their wardrobes and what actually is confronting. You can find a free download on my website so that you can take yourself through your own wardrobe and see if you have some of the similar reflections. So welcome everyone. So nice to see you all today. And thank you for joining us on the Wearing Your Worth podcast. So over the last week, I sent over to you a sheet that asked you to have a look at your current wardrobe. And the reason we've been doing this is because our wardrobe and the patterns that we play in our wardrobe are a reflection of the patterns that we play in life. So I find with so many clients that we can actually find out a lot about ourselves, but in particular about our relationship with our style when we have a look at what our wardrobe contains and how we feel about that. So let's just open the floor first for some initial comments on not so much the detail of what you found, but more so, how did it feel to do that exercise, to go in and see your own relationship with the different parts of your wardrobe?
I'm just trying to find a way to describe the experience. I guess like going through each of the points of the workbook, found myself really quite resistant, and yes, it was almost like I was pulling back the covers of what I don't really want to see and acknowledge. That really confronts me a lot of the time. There's things that I feel confident and comfortable about, but a lot of it, it's almost like my thoughts didn't want to go into the same rhetoric. This isn't right. Why don't I have more of this? Nothing matches. So I found that really quite confronting, which is a good thing, but still it's that tiresome confrontation and rhetoric that, yeah.
Thanks, Liz. And I think that's really common. We actually step into our wardrobe and we really give it space around that relationship. We start to have to confront that relationship. We're always on the fly in the morning when we're getting dressed. But when we actually take that time, it's a bit like sitting on a therapist's couch. And you're in the driver's seat listening to whatever is coming back. So thank you for that. I look forward to unpacking what you found. Who else would like to share? How was that going into your wardrobe and actually being with your own relationship with your clothes?
I think what you were saying about not giving time, like I left it to the last minute. And so then I rushed through it and I didn't do it the way I wanted to do it, which was, to really slow down. Like I would encourage anyone who's listening to take a few hours at least to do it, because I wanted to take everything out of my wardrobe, lay it all out, put it in categories. And I didn't have time to do that. So I felt like I was rushing through it. And then I kept on having that prompt in my head around, how does this reflect in your life? So everything that I was doing when I was doing the exercise, I was going, oh, this is how I do my life. And so it was just this kind of rushing to fit something in and not doing it in an honoring way and not enjoying the process, just sort of just going, oh, this will do kind of thing. And then I looked at a lot of my clothes, and a lot of my clothes are like that as well. This will do. There's not a lot of joy in it, like or sacredness or that feeling of I'm dressing up, like what do I feel like we're expressing today? It's more just like, oh, that'll do. I'll just grab whatever's in the wardrobe.
Beautiful. Thanks, Simone. I love your reflection on how you did it reflects how you can see how that reflects back in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. I so look forward to unpacking what you found as you went and did the deep dive in it. And I think what you just said about taking a few hours, I know we could spend hours in there for the insights that we get.
Yep.
It's extraordinary. So thank you for that. Tash.
Yeah, I struggled with it a little bit as well. It wasn't so much a time constraint to me as I think subconsciously I was aware it was probably opening up something that I hadn't paid much attention to. Like I love with these calls because both of what Liz and Simone have said, there's aspects of that where I'm like, yeah, but it's actually really comforting to hear other women talk about what's going on in my head as well. So that for me, yeah, I don't have a lot of joy when I open my wardrobe. The- So, and some of it did surprise me when we were going through just, the categories and kind of looking at the different weightings, I guess, on what's in my wardrobe. And that was quite an eye opener to me as well around the balance that I've got in my wardrobe, which has really 100% reflected the balance in my life. And so I think the resistance was coming up from that as well.
Okay, beautiful. So for the listeners, basically what we did as a number one exercise was we had a look at the wardrobe and we broke it down into lifestyle categories. So like date night, exercise, gym, formal, relaxed, weekend wear, smart casual wear, work wear. What have I left out? I think that's it. Formal. Did I say that? Probably did. Anyway, so we broke it down into a number of different categories. And then we had a look at what percentage of your wardrobe is in these categories. And then how much of the time or how much of that particular area do you wear? And then do you feel confident, content, or confronted in this particular area of your wardrobe? And what we're looking for was just some patterns to see, oh, how does this reflect one, how I tend to this area? And by tend, I mean, do I look after it? Do I treasure this area? Do I add to this area? Do I ignore this area? How does that, how does that work? And the content, or I should say the confident, content, and confronted is, gosh, how do I feel in this area? And then we're kind of looking at the area of the wardrobe and seeing also how that ties back to how we feel, as Tash just touched on, in our area of life. So Tash, let's start with you. What were some of those areas in your life you just mentioned that it reflected your life? And so I'm really curious to hear exactly what did you learn and what did you find out?
I'm laughing because it's just such a mirror to what's been going on in my life. So for my job and my occupation, I'm very confident. I'm very good at what I do. I'm known. I've a great reputation. And my wardrobe with my workwear is easy in that I know exactly what I'm wearing. I feel comfortable in the pieces that I wear. And it just reflects so much that career that I've got into in aspects. And I think for me too, it's almost like rinse and repeat. I'm so experienced with what I do that it's very effortless. And so although I'd like more pieces, I cycle through very specific clothes and for work, it's the hands down the easiest thing for me to think about. I know my choices and what I'm going to wear. So even just thinking about that though was super interesting to me and the reflection of that. And then the other area that I found I was most comfortable in, again, with sort of confidence. I wouldn't say I was really content with a lot of things. And I think content, it might have been my definition of these words as well. But confident again with activewear, that the clothes that I wear to exercise in, I do a lot of weight. And again, I'm very strong and I'm confident in that. And I feel really good in the gym and I love the gym. It's never a chore. And so I can go to my gym wear and I feel great. I know, and it's not necessarily that I'm comfortable with my body, because that isn't what I'm saying, because I'm not. And I think it's important to kind of highlight that, but that I feel really comfortable in those clothes. Like, I know the purpose. I revamped all my, active wear at the start of the year. So there's pieces that I like, and I splashed out on some better quality ones. So I feel good wearing them. And then the other areas are alike. I was like, oh my goodness, this is just explains exactly what's been happening, which is, I really just for the last couple of years, focused on me, in the sense of I haven't been slightly interested in dating or seeing anyone. So I actually look at my wardrobe and have nothing to wear, because I have had zero focus on, if I needed to go out, what would I wear? And the interesting aspects, and this is a bit of a vulnerable share for me, but I feel like it's something that I need to say. Like, the interesting thing for me is I realize when I have gone out on dates or I've met people, I feel a lot more comfortable if it's directly after work, because I can wear my work clothes. So I can avoid having to try and choose other clothes with that in between stage, or potentially, like, Saturday night for me is a nightmare. Like, it's a horrible feeling, because I can't wear my workwear. Well, I say I can't, it doesn't feel fitting, and I don't feel like I might have one outfit I could pull together if I had to, and on a reflection of that, I'm used to just loving going out and dressing up and having clothes that stand out a little bit, and I like that. And I have none of that in my wardrobe at the moment, like nothing. And so that was a really big, like, oh my gosh moment for me. I was blown away. So I'd have to say that exercise is one of the most valuable things I've ever done. I was 100% blown away with how much my wardrobe correlates with my life. Like, it's just, you could read my life by looking at my wardrobe. And I've been wearing a lot of, like, just jeans and sweatshirts, which I feel comfortable in, but I don't feel good in.
If you stand in front of your wardrobe and feel frustrated, overwhelmed, or like you have a wardrobe full of clothes and nothing to wear, this is for you. I've created a free download that takes you on a personal journey into your wardrobe like never before. You'll discover insights about your own choices of clothes that you may have never considered. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. So this is where the transformation begins. Head to wearingyourworth.com and download it for free today.
And when I think I said in the last time we caught up, when I opened my wardrobe, like, what faces me is all of these sweatshirt, bright, vibrant colors and grey, and I like them, but they are for me in my head now more suited to going to the gym. But it's because I have nothing else in my wardrobe to wear, and I haven't focused on that. And in a way, now I just feel yuck and frumpy when I wear them. And so that's become really obvious. I think I've just been like, I just can't be bothered, I'll just wear it anyway, type stuff. And now I realize that it's because I haven't been paying attention, as much as this might sound like a cliche. I haven't been paying attention to myself and the worthiness of myself and the feeling good in myself. It's just been a practical thing in my day to day. And so I have a couple of nice things I like to wear on the weekend, but they get recycled so much as now I'm like, I'm sure I've just worn that 3 times, and I've caught up with the girls last time and the time before that, and the time before that. And so it's really kind of highlighting those areas, which has been, it's just fascinating. I did the reflection on Sunday, and so since then I've just been really contemplating it. It's been a real eye-opener for me.
That's beautiful. I'm really curious. I've got a couple of questions. So when you talked, I'm going to go first. So it sounds like work and exercise gear. You feel strong in those areas and feel strong in your wardrobe around that. Am I hearing, might not be, but am I hearing it's a known, it's almost like a uniform.
Yeah.
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 You know what's expected, like presentation wise. And so it's defined rules, and you can go in there, you can fit that. And same with exercise. It's like, okay, I know. And I heard you say you like your pieces, work is very easy. And you've kind of got rinse and repeat. So it's just simple. And then exercise, you said you've got some pieces in exercise that you like, but the word strong came up
Mm,
on both of them. Yeah.
mm.
And I'm curious, in the exercise, you said you do a lot of weights. Do you feel strong physically or emotionally? What is it?
I definitely feel strong physically. So I'm proud at what I can lift, I guess.
Yeah, God.
Um, but I also feel like physically, yes. And I guess I could use the word strong in the sense that, I'm very strong in my knowledge or my career and what I'm doing. I just feel very confident in that. And so I feel like, I think what came up for me, Sarah, when you asked me that question was, I think I appear very strong. I think in my life, people would reflect on me as being very strong in what I've had to deal with or cope with. I think I put a brave face that kind of came out, that kind of strength of outward strength. But I do feel like I'm quite strong emotionally as well. Whatever that means, actually, I'm not entirely sure what that means. It's not that I'm happy being vulnerable. But I guess I feel quite strong in my emotions, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm curious. You talked about date night and that you haven't been dating over the last year or two. Um, but when you have gone on a date, did I get this right? It's easier for you to go straight from work because then you can be in work clothes. And so you don't have to think about it and you can say, I've just come from work.
Yeah. 100%. Like I've had a few dates, like it's just, and I think for me, it's been a conscious choice. Like I've really not wanted to. I just wanted to focus some time on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100% that. Even like sort of lunchtime catch ups or even just activities, meeting friends after work, even like it's so much easier. I think I would struggle even meeting a friend on a Saturday, as to what to wear or even just going to someone's house where there's a dinner party or, a barbecue with the amount of people. I would struggle with knowing how to feel comfortable with what I'm wearing.
Okay, beautiful. And what I'm hearing is weekends are challenging.
Very.
Yeah. And lots of sweatshirts, jeans. And I kind of heard your tone kind of drop when you started
Mm.
about that. And even just, very. It's like, it's hard. And what do you think makes it difficult for you?
The reflection I had after doing the worksheet was, I think it really just comes back to essence. Like I feel like I've lost me in that. Like I've lost that part of me. I focus so much on my career and that I've lost. Like even now, I think if you just gave me, $10,000 to go on a shopping spree, I think I would struggle with knowing what it is that I wanted or that I wanted to put together. I would have to have someone to throw things at for me to try. Like I feel like I'm completely blank in that area. Like I just have no idea where that essence of me is anymore with that. Yeah. Like I know pieces that I don't feel comfortable in and do feel comfortable in, that I just feel like it just comes up as a blank for me at the moment.
Yeah, got it. And how do you actually feel on weekends?
Generally pretty good. Like emotionally and mentally pretty good. Um, but I do feel like I've kind of lost variety a little bit. It's quite routine. Mum life is really easy in the sense that, it's all about kids, and activities that they're doing and making sure that they're okay. And then because I co-parent the weekend that I don't have my daughter again in the last couple of years, it's been really focused on my business. And I think that's also become a default. Like I go for long walks and I love that and bush walks and then I'm working. And so I don't have to think about, and then I actually struggle when I have an invite for a Saturday night because I don't know what to wear. And so that's probably very reflective, if I were to be honest, of the way I've been living.
Can I give you a reflection?
Yes, please.
So what I'm hearing is the two areas of life that are easy for you to dress for have very uniform standards, right? So you go into work and you know what's expected of you. So it's like you've got a set of rules that you're fitting into. Yeah. And exercise wear, it's like you're at the gym. it's relatively easy to work out, almost like what part of you expects to be able to fit into what going to the gym looks like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a really positive upside to this. I'm actually really excited for you because the weekend, what I heard you say was that it's almost like you've lost you. Like, who is me? How do I express me? The only reason is because in both the work and also on the gym side, it's almost like you're fitting into external standards.
Mm.
And so it's easy for you to work out, well, how can I, as Tash, fit into these external standards? Great, I've got a bit of a rule book. Yep, I can do that. Whereas when it's like open slather, weekend, catch up with friends, even going out at night and not in work gear that has some kind of context of what that looks like, it's only because there's no external reference point for you to point at. So,
Yeah, not at the moment. Yeah.
yeah. So the beauty of this and the bonus of this is because I would say part of your soul is it's a healthy resistance because you're not actually looking at, well, how do I wear what everyone else is wearing? It's this sense of, well, I don't know what that looks like for me.
Mm.
And this is where, when you know your style essences, and we'll get to that, oh my God, it is going to be so easy because it's like we'll bring it back into that internal referencing of you. Well, who am I? And then you dress for that.
Mm.
So what I'm hearing in the areas that you feel really capable and confident in, that's reflecting in your wardrobe. Yeah. And there's not the indecision. And the areas that feel like, and yes, I'm hearing that, yeah, weekends you feel pretty good and mothering's a big piece. And when you don't have your daughter, you're either out nature walking or you're working on your own business. Am I right? In the and you don't, you put yourself into tasks around other things or around, say, your daughter when she's there. So you become the mum. So you put yourself into roles,
Mm.
but you haven't come into that physical expression of the essence of you, which you said yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Summarizing it quite well. Yeah.
So when you find your 3 style essences, it's going to unlock you regardless of where you are and what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've done so much self inner work. Like I've kind of ripped myself apart, that I've worked on the emotional, spiritual side, that I haven't brought it back and grounded it into how I express that. And I think that's where I'm with this podcast, is what I'm starting to realize, which I had no recognition of until I started diving into it, which is amazing. Yeah.
That's beautiful, really beautiful. And we often think about clothes and the wardrobe as a very superficial part of life, but it's such a reflection and it's a joy to embody our essence, because what we do is instead of ascending out of our body, we actually descend into our body and embody that essence through the expression of our clothes. So beautiful. Thank you, Tash. That was really beautifully insightful. I would love to hear, Simone or Liz, I'd love to hear your major learnings, as we've just heard from Tash hers, on the categories, like the lifestyle categories. What did you see in your wardrobe and how does that reflect in your life, or how do you feel in each of the areas, and what did you learn?
Well, I don't know. Listening to Tash, I'm realizing I'm very complex. I don't even know where to begin understanding what's going on because,
I don't know. Would you like me to ask you some questions, or are you happy?
yeah,
So where do you find you're most confident in your wardrobe? In what lifestyle area?
this is the thing. I could say work, but only in winter, not summer.
But why is that?
You tell me. Because I guess I that was something that I really confronted me during use is, there seems to be a seasonal thing with me as well. But winter, I feel really great. I've got these beautiful shirts and jumpers now, really small selection as well. So I have a nice little rotation of that. That gets tiring. And I'm lucky because I work a lot from home. There's the one day to think about. There's the one day that we have to come into the office. And then through the week, if I'm doing visits, I tend to wear the same kind of thing. So there is one aspect that it is really confident, but then there's really not much to choose, and I get bogged down with it. I don't feel like I get quite down about that because I would like something more, but then I actually end up sticking with the same. I don't really change I might just change one or two pieces.
So I'm hearing that work for you is confident in winter, confronting in summer.
Yeah.
What's it confronting in summer? What is it about summer pieces that feel confronting for you?
Don't actually know what to wear for it. And which is weird because I want that same strong element, the collared shirts, a bit of avant-garde kind of something different because I like to have if I can call a good piece, like the capsule wardrobe piece. But I've got to have an element that just throws it up, is different, is daring, and I just find with summer, there's nothing really expressing that about me. So I get really confronted by that. But then it's also, I'm at work. So I'm like, well, I can find elements of it when I go out or, mainly just going out. But then work, I'm feeling like it has to show. So I feel like I'm confronting aspects of myself where perhaps I want to show myself out as someone, but I'm actually not even sure about who I am anymore. And I'm not sure about my work at the moment as well, because I've been doing it for a long time and I'm wanting to change. So I feel like my wardrobe is doing that as well. But then I have this seasonal thing. See, I get really confused as well. Maybe I'm just very confused.
Right. You know what? I'd like to make, if I could do some feedbacks.
Yeah, sure.
So what it sounds like is that there is something in the thread of your winter clothes. Right? And you talked about shirts and you talked about structure. I'm not sure you said the word structure, but it was amongst that. And you talked about avant-garde. And it sounds like there's some layering that happens in winter as well. So you get to make it you.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
you get to make it to express your own piece in there, which sounds like it has there's a unique essence somewhere along the line. Come summer, and what's happening, what I'm hearing is that one of your major, we have three essences, yeah? My guess is one of your essences, or maybe two of them, are not being represented in your summer wardrobe. And you're not sure how to bring that through. Yeah? And it's not that summer's harder. It's just without knowing what your essences are, you're automatically collecting them or in winter. And also structure tends to come into, and Tash, this is for you as well, into the masculine, right? And when I talk about masculine and feminine attributes in clothes, I'm not talking gender. I'm talking, think about, well, in a sense I am. Masculine attributes in clothes tend to be very traditional masculine shapes, right? Traditional shirts, blazers with collars, pants with side pockets. You think about all the vests, all the traditional. I like to often go back to the 1920s and think of a man walking down the street in the 1920s, right? Because it's all of those very traditional shapes that have morphed themselves in to our wardrobes as females. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. It's just sometimes what can happen is, especially when we look at the workplace, often what happens is, because the workplace often has more masculine and feminine within that, and it's a very logical and linear it's a known aspect, and the masculine, if you think of yin and yang, the yang sits in the known, the yin sits in the unknown, right? It's freer, it's flowing, it's intuitive, it sits in that space. So often what happens is, what I see a lot is women tend to dress a lot more masculine going into the workplace, and it's very known, right? So they derive their power from their masculine energy, and often leave their feminine, that intuitive sense, that sense of curiosity, of letting it, just allowing that to actually flow within them. The Sarah Gale golden rule is the masculine is there to hold a container for our feminine, but not to contain her. So it's really possible, Liz. We all need certain amount of percentages between our masculine and feminine, right? I'm an 80% feminine and 20% masculine in the style that I wear. I haven't found yet, and I'm not saying it's not out there, so let's be really clear about that, but I haven't found less than 65-35 feminine masculine in a woman that I've worked with yet, of what's been called for. And that's because I think a lot of us, we've got so much, we've handed our power over so much to the masculine power within, that our feminine is wanting more expression externally to balance that up, right? So, Liz, I'm wondering whether there's a reliance on the masculine get to feminine, and you live in warmer climates as well. And so it's less structured, and it might be that what's not happening within your summer outfits is you're not actually grounding enough masculine in there, that because you have to, if it's all feminine in our outfits, right? If we're 100% feminine in our outfit, ever seen those things at the service station? Those, colored things that air goes up and they wiggle around. We feel like that if we don't have the masculine holding us, right? And so, and then if we have too much masculine, we can feel drained, bored, uninspired. A big tash, like you explained, jeans and sweatshirt will hold a lot of that masculine, right? And it can kind of be like, oof. I hear you've got color in it, which is probably popping an essence for you. But I would say, Liz, that there's some kind of imbalance in that. And it's going to be really simple when you know your style essences. Honestly, I don't think summer at work will be a problem at all. I think one of your essences is expressing in winter, but it's being lost in summer. And it's just that you haven't identified what is that, or it could be the full essence mix. And then I would say there's probably an imbalance of masculine and feminine when you get in particular to summer.
Yeah, you've dropped on that one big time, because when I think about why I love dresses in summer, but I seek structure in that.
Yes.
I can't stand the floppy dresses with the frill. Oh God, help me. But like, it has to be structured. It has to be fitted in certain aspects. I love a good A-line. So yeah, I still struggle because it's too feminine still. There's too much really going on.
Yes.
Like that. And then I think of myself at work. No, so I think you dropped on that one big time. That drop. Yeah.
Okay, this is your essences will totally unlock this, and the balance of your masculine and feminine. You're automatically going for it. You see how our heart and soul knows. And that's why we end up feeling more beautiful when we're in our essences, because we're so congruent in ourselves. And also we radiate more beauty, because it's coming from our truth rather than what we're trying to often like copy on the outside. And I'm not saying that any of you have said that here. That is what happens a lot of the time. Rather than to adhering to external rules, we find what it is in here, and our beauty is like on fire when we come into ourselves. So thank you for that. Simone, what about you?
I actually think largely I'm the opposite to Liz.
Okay, great. Let's hear it.
I love summer. And because it's still cold here in Melbourne, when I was doing the workbook yesterday, I think I was still thinking very much about my winter wardrobe because it's still cool here. And I was like, oh, I can't wait for summer and I almost know that if I did the workbook in summer, it would feel and be a different experience. Yes. Winter is very much just keep me warm, keep me comfortable. This is like, I kind of go into hibernation. I don't care. I like date night and work clothes. I'm fortunate that I don't have to work I'm not so corporate, so I can be more I definitely express myself through my work clothes as well. And they tend to be more on the feminine side, unless I'm in the mood for something more masculine. And I do express myself through those. So for me, it's at home, weekends, leisure wear. There's sort of just this blur. And as I was listening to the others talking, I was thinking for me, mothering is the masculine role because I'm a single mother and I have to do everything. As I find that I'm more often in my masculine with my daughters. And then at home, it's just about comfort, convenience, getting the job done. And then I was starting to feel a little bit sort of shame, I guess, that I don't dress for my daughters. Like I would dress up for clients and I would dress up for my partner or friends going out, but I don't dress up for my daughters. And I'm not saying I have to look like a date night, but they just see me in leggings and a old t-shirt or jumper most of the time. And I thought that wasn't good. So yes, I struggle to feel anything but just utilitarian at home in the most boring, basic way.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So what I'm hearing is this. Can I give you some reflection? So what I'm hearing is that you tend to dress more feminine in your workplace. And as you spoke about in a recent episode, that you're a therapist. So you probably, I'm wondering whether you sit in your heart a lot as you're working, mixed in obviously with the masculine as well. But I'm wondering, would I be right in that?
Yeah, I think I'm very much in my intuitive
Yes.
feeling the energy and I deliberately bring a lot of the feminine to the work I do. Like it's a very conscious thing, whether I'm working with men or women, but it's
Yeah.
something that I'm very much conscious of embodying that essence. Because my own personal beliefs, my spiritual beliefs, whatever, I just feel like that's really important to bring that aspect in a really healthy way. So yeah. And obviously when I'm with my partner, he's very masculine. So I'm like, love him. And then I love that. I like that. I get a lot of joy out of that. But yeah, it's mothering, which I just find, being the disciplinarian and doing all the physical activity. For me, the feminine is a lot more resting in the feminine, whereas masculine is much more about the doing. And I'm very doing as a mother.
Okay, that was just fascinating, and that was just so beautiful because to hear, and I'm not sure whether Liz and Tash and the audience had that as well, in the sense of your tone as you speak about work and your partner and the intuitiveness and bringing that energy to it, and could so feel this free flow within that. And then your tone went straight to a very different when you talked about mothering and doing. So here's the interesting part that I'm super curious about. The fact, so two things. You said that you wanted to you're wondering, why don't I dress up for my daughters? And I'm wondering, is it really about dressing up for them, or is it allowing the fullness of you in that relationship? And in that, so when I say relationship, I mean in the role of that relationship. So because I'm curious. Leggings and I think you said tees, they're going to hold a lot of masculine, right? Because they're very covered and there's not a lot of flow to that. And even tees when they're right up a crew neck and with leggings, that holds a lot of masculine. And so it will put you into your masculine. And so I'm wondering about where there's a balance for the weekend. And it's not about dressing for your daughters, but it's about dressing for the fullness of you. And it's possible. I don't know this. Can I throw something in? Because I'd like to ask the question here. Having two daughters, it's possible that they're holding a lot of feminine. And so you're holding the masculine in that. Can you reflect on that?
A little bit. I mean, it's hard because I've been a single mother with my two younger ones, but I was partnered with my older ones. So I think it is just the lack of, I've got a partner, but we don't live together. He lives interstate. So our time's limited. So I really feel the lack of just having a masculine presence there to just share the load. And I think I just have to be mentally switched on more with when I'm on my own. And that feels very sort of masculine.
Yeah.
Then I physically have to do more as well.
Yes.
It feels like there's less resting. I don't think it's so much that they're in the feminine because I don't think it would be any different if I had boys. I don't. I guess because I don't think as younger boys, I wouldn't see them as men either. So I wouldn't think that I wouldn't feel that they were holding a strong masculine presence.
Okay, great. I just
Yeah.
thought I'd throw that out there in case there was something in that dynamic that you could feel. But it doesn't sound like that dynamic is playing out.
I mean, I've got a strong yang energy anyway, but I think there's this idea that mothering is a feminine role. And I've never really subscribed to that belief. Like, there's maternal and nourishing and nurturing but I still think it's a very active role.
Yeah. 100%.
A lot of guiding and disciplining and everything, which I'm not saying are just masculine qualities. But when you're doing it all, I guess it's just, I guess that's where I veer more towards my masculine.
Yeah, I can understand that. So I'm curious about, well, first of all, again, I'm going to come back to the essences because they really do unlock. So it's possible that it's almost like the weekend has become almost a uniform for, right, we're in action mode now. It's like, let me put on something that I can move and quickly, and I don't need to think about, this isn't about me as a woman now. This is about my role and what needs to get done. Have I got
I
any?
think that's actually probably more,
Cool.
it's less about me and it's more about being in service to my children. So that's all week and weekend. So I care a bit like what Liz and Tash were saying, but I care less about, I'm not tapping then into who am I showing up in this?
And-
I'm just like in service to the kids, just put on a uniform, which happens to be just nothing special,
How do you feel in leggings and tees?
Bored.
Yeah, look at your face.
Oh.
That was fabulous.
Boring.
Got it. And so when you feel boring, what does that do to your energy?
I actually think it drains it a lot, which I actually think now is, I mean, obviously it's tiring, but it doesn't help. It certainly tires me more.
100%. And as I said before, if our masculine is taking over in what we're wearing, the major symptoms they see is that we feel bored, we feel drained, we feel de-inspired. And it's almost like just, how do I put this into words? Because I always use my hands. And we feel this sense of rinse and repeat in not a great way. Yeah. It's just like, okay. So I'm curious. Now, I know that we don't know your style essences yet, but I'm very curious as an experiment, if you were to shift up your weekends and the time where you were in straight mothering mode and really honor the feminine in what you wear in that as well, I'm really curious as to how that might impact how you feel with all of the action that you're taking.
I think it'll make a huge difference. Like I can just feel it already in my body, even if I'm just sitting on the couch, reading a book and the kids are doing whatever they like. Yeah, I can feel, it feels different. I feel more in my body. I think winter will be a little bit of a challenge. Like Liz has a challenge with summer. I think winter's a bit harder for me. Summer's easier.
And what makes winter harder and summer easier for you?
because I'll just throw on a flowy dress and feel instantly more feminine. Something flowy and light, as winter clothes are sort of constricting. So I feel it's more for warmth and comfort, I guess. I'm just like, stay warm, stay warm. I don't like winter.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, and do you know, I hear this from probably 90% of clients. It's fascinating, right? So Liz, you sit in that other 10%, which I love. I absolutely love. I love that we've got both in this group. Is in winter for our feminine to feel a sense of at home inside and expression, then layering is often a really great way to do that. And what I'm hearing from you is your practicality is taking over in winter. So the way that you just spoke about how you get dressed in winter was all on a practical level. Now, there's nothing wrong, like we looked at in another episode, there's nothing wrong with thinking about practicality when we get dressed, right? It's like, where am I going? What's the weather? Well, they're normal questions to ask. We live in this human world, for goodness sake. Once we've ascertained that, we then need to move back over into our creative instincts, right? And then not let those two questions rule and dictate the whole. And this is where, when you know your essences, the next questions you ask is, okay, how do I express? So for instance, for me, how do I express grace? What wants to come through me in grace, which is like an effortless elegance? What wants to come through me that's bold? And what wants to come through me where I feel within me sexy? Now, if I don't have those in winter, I'm a nightmare. My energy is just like, you might as well just pop me on a couch. And I'm just like, nope, nope. I can't. My being doesn't feel like it's embodied in my body. I haven't switched on my energy centers. I haven't come alive in myself. And I don't feel beautiful without my essences on and without those showing. So when you've got, that it sounds like one of your essences in particular, my guess is a couple in particular, have probably got a lot of feminine to them. And so come winter or come weekend where you go into masculine mode, you shut down probably on a couple of your essences. And so it's not going to feel like there's this flow to that. In contrast to what we heard with Liz, like come summer and one of her essences or a couple maybe is just not being expressed. The same with Tash on weekend wear. It's interesting that weekend wear is all, it seems to be, actually, Liz, you didn't talk about weekend wear, you talked about work. But it's like this sense of our feminine can get squashed very easily. And so that's where, I'm really excited about finding your essences so that on the weekends and in an othering mode, you can really honor the fullness of yourself. And of course, there'll be different expressions for it, right? In the sense that when you're going out on date night, as opposed to when you're running your kids around, there'll be different expressions of your essences. But your essences still, if they're present, you're going to feel you and your energy is going to be different. So I love that. And I just love how it was so easy to hear in your tone of voice as well. And to see that mirror of what your wardrobe and what your life, the experience that you're having in both. I think that's what we heard from all of you today in that. What I would love to go to is a quick, anything else that's sprung for someone?
I liked that someone had the reflection around dressing up for the girls. Yeah, I feel like there's something in that for me, not as an obligation, but the practicality of dressing for the weekend with my daughter. Whereas like this morning we were talking on the way to school and she was like, because often when we're shopping with her, I'm like, oh, I wish they had this in adult size. There's a part of me that's really playful. I would love to wear some of the kids' clothes. I'm not overly frilly. I wear a lot of feminine dresses for work. So work, I don't wear shirts or suits or pants. I don't even have a pair of work pants in my wardrobe at all. I don't have a shirt either. I have one jacket that I very rarely wear that has a collar. So I'm very feminine in my work, but a very nice dresses, if that makes sense. Probably a little bit tailored in aspects, but no collars or anything. So it was an interesting reflection for me as well. But the dressing up part, like, so my daughter this morning said to me, why don't they have the same type of clothes? Why don't they have an adult store with the same type of clothes as kids stores, mum? Like, why don't you keep wearing the stuff that you find fun when you're younger? And I was like, gosh, that's such an insightful little comment, like it's not a little comment, but she's 9. Like, it got me thinking that there are stores that you can buy, I guess, those pieces of expression, but somewhere along the line I was thinking, we get conformed to what is and what isn't. As you get older, it's more, I don't know how to express it, but we tend to allow ourselves to move away from the joy of what we had with clothes. Like, I look at her and I can't remember if I have only mentioned this in a discussion with you, Sarah, the last podcast, but she has such a cool little style. And, she just puts these fun pieces together and she feels so playful. You can tell, kids just feel so playful within themselves. And she feels good with everything that she wears because it's coming from a sense of their style. She hasn't lost that yet. And it's a really big reflection to me around, we lose a lot of that playfulness as we get older. But I really like so that was playing out for me, as well as Simone's comment around, I think I'd like to, I want to have fun with her and dress well and see that she can see that it doesn't have to be a mundane way of dressing for mum, just because, and for me, it's like you want pockets and things to put things in. Like, I have dresses that I absolutely love, but I discovered after I bought them, they have no pockets. So it's the practicality of some of those, which is interesting as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting around the pockets, right? So I hear this so often around the pockets. Do you know you can actually just go and get pockets put in?
Yeah, I've thought about that.
Yeah, it's easy. What I'm also hearing from both you and Simone, which I really love, in that sense of, why aren't I dressing? I'm going to call it up, but it's like it's dressing in my fullness in when I'm with my children, rather than dressing up for my kids. But it's, why am I not dressing to my fullness, or we could call it dressing up to honor my mothering role? Why is that role not honored in the fullness of my expression? Do I not think that it deserves? Do I not deserve to feel my fullness when I'm in that role? And having been a single mum myself, totally get the like the running around. And but if I wasn't in my essences, I didn't have as much energy.
Right.
I just didn't. It just didn't. I wasn't as present, because my energy was really it was dampened. And so I did it for me. And I'll be honest, it was a spill on to my kids, because I felt fuller. I felt more whole. I felt more present. I felt more energized. And my two were busy, which I'm sure all kids are busy. So it's a really interesting piece where we look at almost like that in service of, and we say, so I don't matter, but don't we matter more? It's like, if we're seeing someone, Simone, I heard you talk about, like, you're in service with your clients. So you want to be the best that you can be, the fullest in you, and you tap into your energy, your intuition, all those pieces, the same time as holding structure, I imagine, in your session. So the masculine's still holding that structure. And it's like, could we take that into every area of our lives so that we really feel our power of ourselves within that? Because we're modeling to our children all the time. We're modeling on an energetic basis as much as anything. And so, yeah, I hear that so often, though, especially with the mother-in-law. I hear that we put ourselves last. And I can understand that on some level, And I also know the dysfunctions of that if we're not honoring. I have never said it like this before, but honoring ourselves in the mothering role. I'm like, gosh. So thank you for that. Really beautiful. I think what we might do now is just quickly go through. I was so curious about the colors and your favorite colors, and do you wear your favorite colors? Okay. Great. Let's start with you, Liz. What are your favorite colors, and what do you wear, and why don't you wear your favorite colors?
Oh, I love colors. I really do. And I just hearing Tash talk about that playfulness, I think, yeah, what's resonated out of today is really that whole like function. Clothes is function. I mean, how freaking boring. Like, and then the color element to that is, yeah, it's very much black. My wardrobe currently is black, navy blue, white. I know it's the winter. There will be more color in the summer, but like I'll be very sort of personal now. I do tend to sweat quite a bit, and especially under my arms. So that already is, I don't go there. I can't wear the things that I really want to wear because I feel so uncomfortable. So that's my major discord with colors, because I really love teals and purple and more electric blues. I really love, but I think I have maybe like an electric blue jumper, and I can wear that because I know I don't, because it's actually got like bat wing sleeves, so it's really comfortable. I don't have to worry about perspiration. But yeah, if I wore something purple and I think that's then the dysfunction in summer, because I do have a bit more color, but I'm always conscious. And it's almost like I allow myself to have a little bit of perspiration there, because it's like, it's summer, we're all hot, we're all sweaty, so it doesn't matter kind of thing. So I noticed that, but I also noticed that the styles that I like too tend to not have those colors as well. So it's a mixed bag of that issue confronting me with wearing color, but it's also the styles that I like aren't usually in that color. So,
Got
but
it.
yeah, I really, really miss color. I want more color. See, I'm like, wow, I want color in my life.
I can hear that, and thanks for sharing that. And I do hear the sweating part from a lot of people as well. And I think there's something. What's interesting, and I used to have that, and I don't know whether this happens for everyone. So let me just say this: but when I'm in my essences, I don't really sweat much. I don't know whether it's because I'm inside out. So I'm not baffling the discordance between who I am on the inside and what I'm expressing on the outside. Because my sweating used to be more of a nervous reaction. And so it was when I got, stressed. I don't know whether I'm postmenopausal. I don't know whether that's had something to do with it. I don't know. But what I do know that it used to be a big problem, and now it seems to have disappeared for me. So that's, I'm curious, right? I'm really curious about that. But I'm hearing that you love color. And so to be in one of your essences as well, will be wanting to bring that out more. My guess is you've got a very dominant essence that is playing out at the moment. And so it's holding you, but you haven't got the other two that are working with it. Yeah. So
I'm feeling
Yeah.
that when you speak that. Yeah.
It's a bit like Tash. I'm so curious about your essences. I'm thinking one might play into that playful essence group. So I'm really curious about that. Simone or Tash, what about color for you before we're going to need to wrap in a minute, but tell me about color for you. Thanks, Liz. That was really insightful.
I love blues and greens, and oranges. I have a couple of really bright orange, a certain orange tone of clothes, and I have this orange jumper. And every time I wore it, people would comment on it. It was kind of more of it was a bit of a fancy style, I guess. It's hard to explain, but one that I could wear like on a Friday to work. And I just love the feeling of wearing Like it just uplifted me. So I do wear a lot of blues and greens if I look at my wardrobe.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
What I'm hearing from you is that the color, you love blues and greens and you do honor those in your wardrobe, but there are bright colors there that don't get as much honoring, or if they
yeah,
do, I think we heard earlier in the episode, they're parts of sweatshirts,
yeah, yeah. Wouldn't it?
which
Yeah.
aren't expressing that they don't feel fabulous for you. Did I get
Yeah,
that?
I think that sometimes, like I love the knit that I wore, but it was, I think sometimes I'm just conscious of how bright that is, but I'm conscious, I guess, that it's notable, which I think I'm okay with, but sometimes I have to think of the environment, whereas I would like to just not care.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at that in another episode. Because what I'm hearing is it's almost like, am I too much in this?
Mm.
Get that right?
Hmm. Yes, actually, that's what good.
Okay, beautiful. So we're going to look at some of these common patterns that hold us back from actually wearing what we really feel drawn to when we ask this question: is it okay in this environment? It's not okay in this, and those kind of things. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Tash. And Simone, what about you? What's your relationship with color like?
I love color. I mean, I probably wear a lot of white, though that's more these days. You know, like I listening to all this, I kind of see also how different I was when I was younger. Like I preferred winter clothes when I was younger, like Liz, because I liked the structure. Um, and then I've switched. So, you know, and I used to wear a lot of black. Now I wear more white. So, I wore yellow today because when I was doing it, I was like, I love yellow and I know which yellows suit me. I know which colors suit me. So I feel very confident in that. And I was like, but I hardly ever wear yellow. And I was like, I don't know why. And the same with pink and red, particularly red. I love those colors, but I don't have a lot of them in my wardrobe. So I tend towards more the blues, greens, some more earthy, murky colors, you know, like an olive green or a dusky blue gray. I went through a period where I had a lot of gray in my wardrobe and I've been trying to eke that out. I just had a gray period. But yeah, I like color. I don't really see that I have too much of a problem with that. I don't like patterns up near my face. But I've always been like that, always.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so it sounds like if you have a relationship with color that you enjoy and you were reminded by doing the exercise that, oh, I actually like yellow. I'm putting yellow on. And sometimes we forget, right? Sometimes we forget those pieces. And that you used to wear a lot of black earlier, and now you wear a lot of white, and you did go through a grey. I wonder whether it was a step by step.
Oh, I think more when I had young kids, I didn't wear a lot of white.
Yeah,
It's practical. And Melburnians, we wear a lot of black. So
yeah, got it.
I think I was more just deliberate, trying to get away from that. But yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Well, any last comments or is there any burning insights that anyone's had?
But I kind of had a question. I don't want to, because it could be a whole nother podcast. But we did clothes, but we haven't done accessories. And the reason that popped into my head was because when I was listening to Liz, I was thinking, it's not for me to give advice, but I was thinking because she really likes the structured things, some of her expression with color or, being a bit more avant-garde or interesting could come out through accessories. I love accessorizing with jewelry. I love my jewelry. I'm not a scarf person or anything like that. So yeah, I was just wondering, we didn't do that in the workbook, and I was wondering if that's something that we look into later as well.
Yeah, we definitely do. So once you know your essences, accessories are an amazing add-on to bring out one of your essences that may not be as evident within the outfit that you've got on. So we balance up the essences with both garments, so both clothing and also shoes and accessories. So great pick, 100%. I love that. Love that. Beautiful. Okay. So thanks, everyone. I hope you've all got something out of today's podcast and that it's resonated with something for you. So if you've liked and enjoyed this podcast, please give it a like, give it a share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'd love to hear any of your comments or what was really relatable for you. Thanks for listening. See you next time.